Which Bengals rookie is going to make the biggest impact this year? Plus, one national analyst says Shamar Stewart is the safest pick, and Joey B in NYC. Hi again, everyone, and welcome into Enter the Jungle. I'm James Rapien. He's Andrew Fox Miller. You can catch us every single week, usually at 8 Eastern on the YouTube channel, Cincinnati Bengals Talk Weekly on FanDuel Sports Network. And I mentioned Joey B in NYC. Did you know, Andrew, that the Met Gala was in New York City? Because I didn't until today. I'm not going to lie to you.
I mean, I know that it happens. I didn't know until I was alerted that Joe Burrow was there. I didn't know it was today. Now I know. Now we all know.
Now we know. Yeah, Joey B and NYC. We will get to that coming up. But before we do that, speaking of someone who, well, at least his dad is famous in New York, and Chris Sims himself is famous in New York and really across the country. You can catch him on NBC Sports, and he joined me on Cincinnati Bengals Talk last week after the Bengals took Shamar Stewart, after they took Demetrius Knight Jr. I really encourage you to check that out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. But this clip stood out to me because of what he said about Shamar and not being the risk that everyone has said that Shamar is. And I wrote it on draft night that the Bengals are rolling the dice a bit, that they are gambling on those traits. And Chris Sims doesn't see it that way. This clip, pretty noteworthy. Let's hear from the NBC Sports analyst.
He is a physical freak, right? And I look at him and go, this is one of the safest picks in the draft. That's the one thing I love. Let's just start there. It doesn't matter who he plays against, what team the Bengals are playing. You're not going to have to worry about Shamar Stewart going, oh man, we might get overpowered this week, or we got a real mismatch issue. I mean, his floor is like, oh, he's our starting defense end for the next 5 or 6 years, and he's a good player. So I like that aspect, let alone his ceiling is as high as anybody in the draft. He could be a superstar. He could be Myles Garrett. He could be one of the best pass rushers in football. So that's what I love about him. And two, right, what he did at Texas A&M, and this is where I know we're all about he only got 1.5 sacks and all that. And I think you've seen some of the things I've said. Disruption is production, right? Well, I have a thing what I call on my podcast, F the play up. There's too many plays or too many great players in football who ruin the design of the play, and somebody gets the tackle, and I want to go, okay, great, he made the tackle. The star of the play is the guy who ruined everything. And sometimes that gets lost in translation a little bit with the fans.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, Andrew. The idea that he's a safe pick. And let's just ask it, because you've had over a week and a half now to digest Shamar Stewart in stripes. Yep. You've seen plenty of footage. You edited that Chris Sims interview in its entirety. Are you buying it that Shamar Stewart isn't a risk and is a safe pick?
I am buying that there's a lot to be excited about with Shamar Stewart. And we can tell where I'm going with this. I'm gently just setting this down.
So you're selling it. No, don't gently. You're selling it.
Let's just put it this way. Let's put it this way, James. If, as a Bengals fan, those of us that have been around this team, the Zach Taylor era, even the Marvin Lewis era, of course, like if we didn't go off history as Bengals fans, we'd assume the Bengals would have crushed the Patriots in week 1 of the 2024 season. But history tells us that coaches and players weren't prepared. If we don't go off history, Shamar Stewart should immediately improve the defensive line in 2025. Immediately improve pass rush 2025. But history tells us that players that are physical freaks don't often translate to success on this team. History tells us that the Bengals haven't drafted a defensive player in the first round that ended up being a great player for the Bengals since Leon Hall. We talked about this not too long ago over the phone, James. I think it was Leon Hall is where we kind of concluded on this. So it's not that Shamar Stewart isn't a great player that could be an all-pro on many NFL teams. It's more a reflection of how we feel about the coaching, the development, and actually utilizing the skill set that Shamar Stewart offers. That's the match that I'm more concerned with, or I should say the mismatch I'm more concerned with. It's not the player. It's the situation, and it's this team delivering on what we need them to deliver on to have a Super Bowl caliber team.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel the way you do. and think it's like Miles Murphy 2.0. Like they've already written the book on Miles Murphy, whether that's fair or not. And I'm not there. I totally agree with Chris. Like, I think he's such a freak and has an awesome personality. And I do think personality matters when it comes to floor and ceiling of a player. Like, unless you're one of the best, most talented and skilled players on the planet, period, you can't overcome a bad attitude. Right? Sam Hubbard was in the news this week because he's in Cincinnati and he's still making a difference with his charity, and he's partnered up. I forget. I think it was with Fifth Third Bank, and he's making a difference. Well, what did Sam Hubbard do? He maximized every ounce of talent that he had. Maybe he could have kept playing, maybe not, but he got everything out of his talent. And I think Shamar Stewart's going to do that too, from a work ethic standpoint. Maybe he doesn't learn every pass rush move on the planet. Maybe he doesn't become this elite edge rusher that is just so disruptive that he strikes fear in every single opponent, the same way a lot of Bengals fans, and certainly the Bengals in general, view a lot of these edge rushers that they have to face in the AFC North, namely Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. Like, maybe he's not that. Okay. But I also don't think he's going to be whatever bust that you're picturing. Like, he might not be a stud all-pro, but is he going to be a solid player? Like, I don't see how someone that physically gifted that's going to work hard, and we have no reason to believe he's not going to attack it. And just talking with him, I think he's got that edge to him. And so if you're that gifted and you have an edge, there is a pretty high floor for you. At least I feel that way. I get why people are like, I don't know if the Bengals can develop him, and I don't know. And maybe they're right. Maybe I'm going to be dead wrong about this. Feels like he's going to be pretty safe. And I said it last week, and it kind of went viral when the powers that be at Big Play tweeted it out at Sin Bengals Talk on X, by the way. And I do think he's going to start. I do think in year one in the NFL, he could have more sacks than he had in all of his college career. And that wouldn't be that many, right? The over on 4.5. But I think I would take the over.
I mean, and that's fair. Look, you mentioned the coaching, and it's obviously at this stage, if we were in the same exact position from a coaching standpoint, both positional and coordinators, I would be everything that I just said about my concerns with any draft pick, but in this case, of course, Shamar Stewart, would apply so much more so. If there's any reason for optimism, it's obviously that a lot of that has been changed. And for better or worse, it seems as though, based on the decisions they've made, the moves they made, the moves they didn't make this offseason, it seems as though, we've said it time and time again, they're putting a lot of weight on those coaching changes. And that's different. That can be exciting. And I'm looking forward to seeing if it pans out. History, though, it's just first round pedigree, defensive player. I want the mold to be broken, or the trend to be broken, the pattern to be broken. I want that. But I got to see it. I got to see it to believe it. And I hope this is the year.
Yeah, I get it. I do. By the way, how about we do this? We make a friendly wager. A friendly wager. The over-under, we'll set it. The official Garage Beer line. And this show is brought to you by Garage Beer, by the way. 4.5 sacks for Shamar Stewart. I'll take the over. You take the under. The winner has to fit the bill on some Garage Beer, and we'll enjoy them on the show. So we both win.
I mean, I feel like I have to take it. I mean, what other choice do I have?
I'm about to win right now.
Oh my gosh.
Popping it.
Yeah.
Popping it right now. Look.
Pinky's up. Okay. Wow.
I mean,
you drink that like you already won, like it's a victory already. Look, I hope you're right. And I honestly would probably take the over, but for the sake of the segment, I'll go under, I'll own it, and I'll take whatever.
You worry. You can't say, history.
I'm not even worried about sack numbers. That's the thing. The sacks aren't what concern me. I just want to make sure that there's the production overall, the disruption overall. I need to see what we lacked severely in 2024 in getting after opposing quarterbacks. Just show me that. I don't care if he has 2 sacks. Is he making an impact? Is he making a difference? He can do that without 4.5 sacks over under.
Look at you. So I agree with that, by the way. Chris Sims needs a disruption is production shirt, just like I need a draft players not possession shirt. We'll work on that. But what we need to do is continue with this rookie class. Which Bengals rookie is going to make the biggest impact this season? We'll answer that question coming up next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He's Andrew Fox-Miller. I'm James Rapien, and it's time to figure out what this season the Bengals have dreams of going to Santa Clara and being in the Super Bowl after being there a few years ago, getting back to the playoffs and making a deep run. If that happens, one of these rookies is going to step up. Hopefully, multiple rookies are going to step up and play a huge role. So, Andrew, who do you think is going to make the biggest impact this season?
Now, we just talked plenty about Shamar Stewart. I really hope it is Shamar Stewart. It wouldn't surprise me if it was him, but I think in all likelihood, I'm going to place my bets on one of these day two guys. And if I have to pick one, and it's very difficult for me, I think I'm going with Dylan Fairchild. And I really like the idea of Demetrius Knight being the answer to that as well for a number of reasons. I'm going to stay in my lane with Dylan Fairchild here. Simply because
sure? I think it would be so much cooler if I said, are you sure? Like, I think it would be so much cooler if you went with Demetrius Knight. Everyone is picking Dylan Fairchild, and that probably makes it the right decision.
It's literally a coin flip.
Right call. Yeah.
I mean, I'll edit this thing, James. I'll just say Demetrius Knight. Demetrius Knight. I actually, and I know I picked him as the worst pick, but that doesn't mean he was going to be the worst player. I just didn't like the process. I didn't like how they were working their board in the draft itself. But I digress. Dylan Fairchild, simply because I think he's going to be thrust into a starting role, and he is going to deliver. At the very least, be a solid guard in his rookie season. But I think as a pass protector, I think he is going to have a noticeable impact in the 2025 season. You walk away from this rookie class after year one, I think Dylan Fairchild is going to be the top of this list, if not amongst one other player at the top of this list. And I think it'll be a day two player nonetheless.
Yeah, I totally get it. I do. And I think, man, I mean, there are so many guys that can make an impact. Like, I think all of these guys, for the most part, are going to play. And for
just
Taj
say Shamar Stewart. Just say
Taj Brooks.
Stewart.
No, for Taj Brooks, like, the only thing would be, like, obviously Chase Brown is in the mix and is going to lead that backfield. But could Taj Brooks be RB2? Sure, if he could pick up the pass protection stuff, no doubt in my mind that he could be there really early on in the year. But that's a tough thing to pick up, so we'll see. I would have loved for you to go Demetrius Knight, and I totally get Dylan Fairchild. For me, I think in an ideal world, I'll get to that in a second. I got to make my pick. It's Shamar Stewart. Of course it is. Of course it is. He's going to make a huge impact, because he's going to be this big, physical, tough, edge-setting player that can kick inside and that can matter. Is he going to be the best pass rusher in the world? I don't know, but I think he's going to matter. I don't think he's the missed tackle machine that a lot of people think he is. I think he's going to matter in every single game, and they're going to get him on the field. And much like Amarius Mims last year, they're going to be like, my God, like, this dude is different. And Amarius didn't start right away, and part of that had to do with the training camp injury. Hopefully Shamar is just healthy throughout camp. If he is, I would be shocked if he didn't start day one. They'll have to replace a ton of snaps on the edge. And that's going to be Shamar. That's going to be Miles. That's going to be Osai. Maybe you're able to kick Miles inside, or you're able to kick Osai inside. And then you have Trey Hendrickson, Shamar Stewart, who could kick inside as well. But Shamar Stewart, Osai, and Murphy on the field all at once. Like, I just think he's going to get a ton of snaps, ton of reps. They need playmakers on defense. I think he makes the biggest impact. But Dylan Fairchild would be the favorite if we pulled Bengals fans. I think Demetrius Knight is going to walk into a starting job,
yes,
and play well, relatively well. I think it's a tough ask for any rookie. Even Jermaine Pratt, it took his lumps early on as he adjusted to life in the NFL. But to me, the Jalen Rivers one is the intriguing one, because he could just be a swing tackle, or he could be your starting right guard, and they could give him a real opportunity to win that job. And if they do, I think he's got a chance to compete for that. And I hope they do, because I think he's ready to go. I think he's a better pass protector. Everyone talks about Dylan Fairchild as a pass protector. I think Jalen Rivers, better pass protector because he's got 35-inch arms. He is super comfortable in space against these guys. And so if he can pick up guard, which he played a lot of guard in Miami, if he can pick that up at the NFL level and be your starting guard, and then you have Fairchild and Rivers playing at a pretty high level, I'd take that all day long. So if there's an ideal world, that's the guy I'm painting the picture of making a huge impact.
Yeah, and obviously we could call it way too early projections. We're in the month of May after all. But I could see a number of scenarios where everybody that we just mentioned here, even if they aren't starting, Rivers, for example, I could see a scenario where you're getting deep into the season, perhaps even the postseason, and they have to step up for one reason or another. You get a player nicked up, injury, hopefully not. But if it happens, I could see a scenario where either of those guys step in and elevate their play, elevate the team, elevate the line. And that goes for the linebackers. That goes for Stewart. We'll see. But as of now, I feel like our picks are safe. We'll call them that for where we are heading into the depths of the offseason.
Bigger holiday for you, May 4th or Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, May 4th. May 4th.
It's exactly what I would expect from a Star Wars nerd.
We got to do this again? We got to do this whole gimmick again? I mean, what are we...
From one nerd to another. Joe Burrow was at the Met Gala. He would agree he's a nerd. We'll get to him coming up next. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow was at the Met Gala in New York City on Monday night. His first appearance at the Met Gala. You're going to see Joe in just a second. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He's Andrew Fox-Miller. I'm James Rapien. And I got to be honest, Andrew, the thing that I was most shocked about is this is Joe's first time at the Met Gala, and it's mostly due to health. He has always been kind of stuck in Cincinnati for health reasons for a lot of his career. From a health standpoint, obviously was taking part in all of the Bengals offseason program last year. This year, not in the early stages. I'm told he'll be at Paycor Stadium soon enough. And it's for good reason because he was looking fly. I got to get your reaction to this. Let's check out Joe Burrow, Met Gala Joe. What do you think?
Let's take a look here. I mean,
double-breasted suit, fly.
I mean, he didn't wear that for me or anything. I mean, I could tell you that right now. I mean, he looks like he's going to a formal event at the White Lotus, but the suit jacket has a back to it. This isn't Vogue World 2024. I'll give you that. But I don't know.
Love it.
I don't know. I don't know, James. Is it just me? Are we missing a little bit of aura here? I don't know. Maybe
no. It is you.
Okay. Maybe it's me.
Fresh.
Maybe it's me.
The double-breasted suit apparently back in. That was an 80s and early 90s thing, I would say. It's back. Shocker. Baggy pants are back too, apparently. And so, yeah. No, it is. But no, I like the look. I think some of the looks I'm not in on that one. I think it's fresh. Not that I'm not saying I'm not in on it, James. But unlike Dylan Fairchild, this doesn't have immediate impact. Is all I'm trying to say. It does. Oh, one of his best looks. One of his best looks.
One of his best. Now that's a bold claim right there.
Is it?
I think
that's fresh, man. He could show up at a wedding like that. He could show up at anything. He would never show up at Ruby's like that. But I was gonna say he could show up at Ruby's like he wears a t-shirt to Ruby's. He's not like us now. But yeah, I think fresh look.
Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not a hater. It's just.
Oh, you're a hater. It's fine. Admit it, hater.
I've just seen game day fits better. That's all I'm saying.
Some are better. That's a top 10 Joe Burrow look right there.
Okay. We might need another offseason segment on top 10. I don't know.
Yeah, we have plenty of time to do that.
Yeah, this is true offseason. We have to
talk about the ultimate sleeper to be the best player on the Bengals defense, not named Trey Hendrickson. We'll get to that coming up next. Welcome back to Enter the Jungle. He's Andrew Fox-Miller. I'm James Rapien, and I did a video last week on Dax Hill. The Bengals picked up Dax Hill's fifth-year option. He's set to make $12.7 million in 2026, and it's been an up-and-down career so far for Dax Hill. He was a first-round pick in 2022, started in year 2, didn't really play much as a rookie. Last year, moved to corner, played pretty well for 5 games, then suffered a torn ACL. on track to be healthy this year. The Bengals certainly buying stock in Dax Hill, believe that he has plenty of untapped potential. For my thoughts, check out the video we did last week. Really encourage you to do that on the YouTube channel, Cincinnati Bengals Talk. But this is all about you, Andrew. What do you think about Dax Hill and the decision to pick up his fifth-year option?
I mean, I don't know what other choice they had. And obviously they had other choices. But what I mean by that is you feel a bit invested in the player, the person. You want to see things through. You don't want to be stuck in a situation where he has a breakout year in 2025 and you're trying to figure out why didn't we do something about that fifth-year option. I get it. And honestly, there's a lot of reason to be optimistic about Dax Hill, even after all this time. It's a bit of a unique scenario, especially for a first-round pick, how much he was moved around. Like you said, you talked about it on our YouTube channel, all about Dax Hill, but we don't know exactly what position he'll play. We can, of course, assume cornerback, but like, is he going to fill the Mike Hilton role? Is he going to play outside? Both. We don't know that. We don't know when he'll even be cleared to play. We do know he's going to cost the team just north of $12 million in cash and cap in 2026. It's just that we're 3 years after Cincinnati used a first-round pick on him. There's obviously some trepidation there. I just want to see him utilized correctly by this coaching staff, by this team. So $12 million or not, I'm glad they're going to give it another year.
It's coming. And it should have happened in 2022. He should have been on the field more than Trey Flowers. He wasn't. And that's a preview of what my video was on our YouTube channel. For Andrew Foxmiller, I'm James Rapien. I'm going to, go look at some Joe Burrow fashion because Andrew Foxmiller disagrees and thinks that he looked bad at the Met Gala. You believe that guy? I don't believe that guy.